Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, then welcome to my channel and thanks so much for joining me today for this painting tutorial. I'm going to be working on a 16 by 20 double primed and stretched canvas today. You can paint this on any size canvas that you like. I have a number 50, just a large filbert brush here that I'm going to be painting the background with, and I'll be using titanium white and some Mars black. You can use any large brush, any white, and any black that you like. Okay, so I'm going to start with some white and just brushing up and down, and then I'll come in with some of my black. And take a little bit more black and add some on either side of the canvas. So for most of the canvas, up and down brush strokes, and then on the very, very bottom, pulling back and forth. I want to make it darker on either side and then have it a little bit lighter in the center. And the next thing I'm going to do is take a little bit of black, just get it on the tip of my brush, and I'm going to add a little line that comes out here, and then a little one back there. And I'm just going to pull and flick down here. Add a little bit more black here for a shadow. A little bit of water on the end of your brush and take a bit more of the black paint. And then I'm going to pull a few more lines, sometimes turning my brush this way to use a full width, and then other times turning my brush like this. And then again, there, and just a little bit there. We'll just camouflage that in a minute. Just want to get our lines and shapes and composition blocked in here first. Okay, rinsing off my brush. Clean brush, white paint, and I'm going to go through the center again. This way it's going to give us a little bit more distance where we can't really see where the street ends. Add a little bit more. And a little bit off the top. A little bit of white down and then sweep across. Okay, I'm going to take some more white and I'm going to start adding it in little circles. And then to create distance, just have it disappear back there along with the white that we added for the background. Okay, I'm going to take some more white and start building up the snow here on either side. And just brushing a little bit of that white back and forth like this will add a little bit of a shine and some extra light on the street. And I'm going to switch over to number 10 filbert brush. I'm going to take some black and I'm going to come right along here to add just a little bit more shadow on either side of the sidewalk. And this painting's really more abstract and just a suggestion of a winter street scene. Now you can add as much or as little detail as you want. I just want to set a mood here, mostly in black and white, and then have the color and the focus to be on the lamppost with little lights in the distance. Okay, I'm going to add some more white with a clean brush and just create the feeling of snow in little half circles on parts of the sidewalk. Now we can have, maybe we've got a few railings here. And some steps going up. So just a few little lines like this. And a rectangle window, keeping your brush strokes just really loose. And you can do this loosely along just in these little lines. Let all that black and gray background work as your grayscale and shadows. And let everything else just be blurry little brush strokes and blobs in the background. Then you can go in with a little bit of black. And add a few more lines for some little bit more contrast or shadows. Okay, so now I'm going to add a little bit of black for some cars here, just little blobs here, making them look far away. And then I'm going to be using a number 2 liner brush. I'm going to take a little bit of white and I'm going to add some lights here, little dots. And then pull down. Just gently pulling. And then a few more little dabs. And you can add little half circles on the top just for a little bit of snow covering those cars. And go back over to my filbert brush and I'm going to add a few little garlands that come down and up on either side. And down the railing. So just tap, 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 and over. Make it look like it's wrapping around. And then I'm going to add a little bit more black for some more shadows on the road. Both vertically and horizontally. And remember, you can always go over anytime you want. If you need to add a little bit more white, little dabs for the lights. Remember, this is very impressionistic, very sort of abstract-like. So you can be really loose with your brush stroke. We're just creating a blurry suggestion of what's going on in this downtown street scene. And I've got a few of these mini mop brushes, and I'm going to be using this to add some snow and highlights. So just a dry brush, you want to go right over to the paint and just tap it in. We're using white, and I'm going to start tapping for some snow here and highlights. So you don't want to cover up all the black, you just want to add a little bit of white to it. And then with just a little bit of water, I'm just gonna blend the rest of it out. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna do is take one of my long liner brushes, get it wet, pick up some black, mix up some more water in there so it's really, really thin. And I'm gonna add some trees. Just gonna pull up and then start wiggling for some branches. Wiggle, wiggle, and then just use the very tip of your brush for those more delicate, finer and smaller branches. Wherever you want to have a thicker area, then you'll add a little bit more pressure. And I'll add another one here. So all these things that we're adding collectively will help to create this street scene. Have these branches coming out in front. I'll add another little one here. You may have to load your brush quite often when using a liner brush. It's really normal. You just have to learn to have some patience and not get frustrated. Have a few more trees being shorter and thinner and more faded to help create that distance, that they're farther away and less visible. I'm going to add a little bit of white for some snow and highlights. I'm going to add just a little bit of white for some snow at the base of the trees. And a few more lines. Back over to my black. I'm going to add a few lines here for the window on the door. I'm not out to make anything perfectly straight. Okay, the next brush I'm going to be using is my 1-inch oval mop brush. It's dry. I'm going to take a little bit of white and a little bit of black. I'm going to make a light gray color. And I'm just going to tap, tap, tap a little bit in here. I'll just add a little bit more of the black. I'll just add a little bit of frost and a little bit of snow on the ends of the branches. Add a little bit of white now, tapping gently in to not overload my brush. And you'll just give a gentle little tap. And then those smaller ones that are farther away, I'm going to tap here gently around the base of our stairs. A little something on an angle here that kind of gives us the feeling that there's more of those stairs leading up to some other houses. And then a larger one right in here. Little scumble here and there, adding a little bit more bits of snow, make it look a little more icy. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is take my little liner brush again, add a little bit of white for some lights. So I'm going to just tap and dab for some little Christmas lights. I'm dabbing after I tap on the white dabs just to soften them. And then I'm going to add them wrapped around the tree trunk as well. I'm going to add some on either side of the door. And then we're not going to see too much as they get farther away, are we? And we'll add some on the side. All along this garland. I like to just make it look like it's going and twisting around, just like the garland does. And then I'll have some dangling down like icicle lights here. A little bit more light, sort of a frosty, glowing light in the window there. And then I'll add the strings, well, for the cords. I'm not going to make it completely visible everywhere. I just want to have a little bit of these lines that are connecting. You can have them black or white. Just gonna add a little bit more black. Just shade a few areas in here. And the next brush I'm going to be using is a number 3 round brush. And I'm going to take black to start. And I'm going to come from over here, loop and loop. So it looks like we've got a garland of lights and decorations that are hanging from, connecting and going from one side to the center. Add some more that go lower. These ones get farther away. And then I'm going to use my short little stippler brush. It's dry. I'm just going to take white and I'm just going to tap in a little decorative snowflake here. So push and tap and then let off to make them smaller and smaller. And then I'm going to add some lights, one on the top, one on the bottom, and sort of stagger them. And I'll do a miniature version of that one. It'll be a little out of focus because it's more in the distance. But same thing, larger dabs and then getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And then we're going to add the lights a little closer together. Same thing, even smaller. And then these ones we're not going to see any black, we're just going to see a little blurry bits of white. And then just a little scumble with my leftover white. I'm going to add some more white here along the tree trunk. Some tiny little dots just with the end of my brush here. I'm going to soften these ones by going over them and making them a little bit more blurry. It'll just look like they're glowing. Same with the tree. Soften, soften. If you happen to pick up a little bit of black in there, don't worry. You can just go over. Acrylic paint is so forgiving, you know? You can just go right over with some more white. And then I'm going to take a little bit more white, add it to either side of the sidewalks. Larger here, more in the foreground. And then I'm just going to twist and roll my brush to make it nice and small, and then add a bright, tiny dab for the lights. Okay, so the next colors I'm going to be using are neon red, yellow warm, and cool. So I'm going to take a little bit of yellow and I'm going to go over some of the lights and some of the black. So when I go over the lights, they'll look nice and bright, and when I go over the black, it'll look like a green Christmas garland. So I'll just add a little bit there. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the red and the warm and the cool yellow. So I've got a little bit of white in there. And I'm going to add that in the window and over the steps and a little bit down below. Add a little bit in that one as well. Wasn't very visible, but we'll just add a little something right here to create some soft light. And just a little bit of warm lights here and there. Lots of little dots and dabs will look like street lamps in the distance, windows, Christmas lights. And of course, a little on the car lights. And then I'll add some white to my brush. I'm going to add some on the decorations up top. Both yellows. And then a little extra dab of white if any of them look too dark. Going over some of the gray areas or the black areas with the yellows won't dry bright enough, so it's a little trick. If you just go over with some white, then it'll show up better. Okay, and a little bit here and there. A little bit of the pink will look really pretty too here and there. So just with a bit of neon red and white. A little bit of light. The base of the stairs. I'm going to add a little bit more color to these lights reflecting. I'm going to add a little bit of red to complement the green. Little decorations or lights. And a little bit on this side as well. Okay, and I'm going to add a lamppost right from here up to here. And I'm going to be using an angled number 4 brush. You can use any flat or even a round or filbert brush. So we'll add a thin line and then make it a little wider right here for the base. And I'll have some snow covering a lot of the bottom too, so you don't have to worry too much about perfecting that and taking too much time. I'm going to take a little bit of water along with the black and go over this. Okay, then I'm going to add a skinny rectangle right here. One on the top that's wider. And then a triangle on the top. And then a little line. And then a little dab. I'm going to take a little bit more and add another little rectangle there, a bit shorter. And then I'm going to add a line that comes out like this. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do with a clean brush, I'm going to take some white and a little bit of my yellows. So you just want to tint your white with a warm color of your choice for your lantern. And then I'm going to come inside, bring that up a little higher. And I want to make it look like it's glowing, so I'll just add a little bit more with a dry brush. So just a little bit of the paint color. And then just going around scumbling. Just smooshing around without taking my brush off of the canvas is a good description of what dry brushing and scumbling really is. And then I'm going to come back inside with that warm color. And again, you can go more saturated if you want. with everything else so faded in color, you can choose one or two things in your painting to add more color to. So I'll just add a little bit more color there, and then a little bit of white for the center. Remember, it's going to dry a little bit darker than this as well, because we're painting on that dark grayscale background. I'm going to take a little bit of white, and I'm just going to dab it on this line in a bit of a lumpy kind of way so that it looks like snow. Same with here. I want this to be surrounded by snow. And we can have a little bit of snow collecting on the top. So I'll just dab a little on, and then I'll soften with my finger sometimes, or you can use a brush. Okay, with some more black, I'm going to come in and make this even darker because it's a little bit transparent, showing that canvas through. And then I'm going to water down my brush and wipe most of it off. I want a very mostly transparent paint on my brush. We'll add a few lines. And just a little dab in there for the base of the light itself. Okay, so I'm going to start working on the wreath now. And I'm going to be using an angle mop brush. You can use any mop brush you want. I'm going to apply my wreath right there. I'm going to take a dry brush, mix a bit of my yellow and my green, or my, sorry, my yellow and my black to make green. So you can see you get this really dark base, and we want this dark base first. And then I'm going to tap, tap, tap. I'm going to make it quite a decent size. Okay, then I'll take a little bit more of my yellow, and then I'll add a little bit of white to it as well. I'm going to add some more white, make it look like snow, and I'll add this on in a little bit thicker. Okay, just rinsing my brush out. I've got my round brush. I'm gonna add a little bit more black in here. A little bit more of my yellow. Create some more green. You can just use any green you want, but you can, I just like to show you that you can make a really nice shade of green by mixing a cool yellow with black. Okay, and then the next thing, with a clean brush, I'm going to take some red and I'm going to dab on some little ornaments in groups of 3s. You want to have a good amount on the tip of your brush. Okay, then I'm going to add a bow right here, 2 rounded triangles, a little dab in the middle, wiggle, wiggle. Add a little bit of white. And I'm gonna actually add a little bit more of my warm yellow to the lantern. I'm gonna add a little bit more snow, white for snow. And a little bit on the ribbon. Then I'm going to take a little bit of my red and my warm yellow, and I'm going to add just a hint of it in my lantern. And then a little bit of white, just to soften. And I'm going to add 1 or 2 people walking, just in silhouette, maybe with a little bit of snow on them, with my little liner brush. So I'll add head here, little oval for the head, shoulders, bring it down, more into a V. And then make it come down longer. Have an arm coming out here. And maybe a hat. Just add a line across like this. And then we'll have a child. So start them down lower, smaller head, smaller shoulders, smaller, shorter everything. Have them holding hands. And then maybe there's another child there. Now you can add a little bit of color if you want. You can go over with a little bit of red, mix that in with the black, just for a hint of color. I'll just add a little bit on the coat and the hat. And I'm going to add a little bit more red to the bow now. See that white is drying a little bit brighter than I want it to be. So I'll just bring back a little bit more color here with adding some more red. Add some more snow on the top. And just with this little brush, I'm going to scoop up thick amounts of white and put it on there without blending it in. I want it to feel a little bit 3D here, so when it dries, it's going to be kind of lumpy. And this really helps when you put it on thick like this. It'll give you an instant shadow just because it stands out. I'm going to add a little bit of white right in the center. Anything that looks a little green from where my yellow went over, dark gray or black, I'll just add a little dab of white to it to make it brighter. And I'm going to add some more lights. There's lots of little dots and dabs here. have blurry ones, some soft glowing lights. Okay, this painting is just about done. The last thing I'm going to do is just add a fine mist of snow, spray it on with my toothbrush. So you just want to make sure you get it wet, and then just gently scrub it in to the paint. I'm using titanium white, but you can tint your white any pastel color that you want, or just straight white. And you want to line it up, turn it over. Okay, I'm just going to add a few little snowflakes right down here. I'm going to be using my little angle flat brush, a little bit of white, and I'm going to add a little star here first by pulling in all directions, and then I'm going to tap all these little taps. And then I'll add some smaller ones. Just using the corner, little tip end of my brush here, kind of like I did up there. So I'll just do a few of these, different sizes and all different from each other. I'm just going to add a little bit here as well to make this look more like a snowflake. We can add a few in here. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this painting, and I want to thank you so much for joining me today. This was a lot of fun. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I'll see you soon in my next video. Oh, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more, and check out Patreon for more, where you can make a small donation monthly and receive some exclusive wonderful tutorials in return and a gift. Thanks everyone, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye!